Hey everybody! So today I finally finished Miles Davis's solo, and so I thought I'd make a quick video to just kind of consolidate what I learned personally. It really helps me if I can conceptualize some of these things and analyze them and connect them to other ideas. It just helps me retain them and manipulate them, put them in other forms. So I'm just going to ramble for a few minutes about kind of my big takeaways. And let me start first by saying thanks, Brent, for challenging us to learn this solo from Miles. It took me forever. I mean, it took me, I don't know, at least 15 hours to get under my fingers, and it still wasn't perfect, as you can see in the video. But I loved the challenge, and I think I learned a lot. So thanks, I appreciate it. All right, so I think the first thing that stands out to me about Miles' solo here, just the big overall impression, uh, is that it's got this really laid back kind of feeling. It's relaxed. It's confident, and when he plays something, it's very definite. But it's just sort of this relaxed, joyful feeling. And so my first big question, as I was trying to analyze it and learn it, was like, how does he create that effect? How does he do that? So I'm sure there's a lot that could be said, a lot more than I'll say here. But just some of my thoughts on, after learning it, how he does that. Here's a few things. The first thing that stands out to me is he uses a lot of delays or pauses, and I mean, there's a lot of space in there, but especially just the fact that he delays some of the notes as he plays them. Like you can, especially here. Let me give an example. At 38 seconds, as he's playing the melody. Here, I'll play it. Right here. So there's like a full 3 seconds of space, I think. And it's later than your ear expects to hear those melody notes. So I think that's part of what creates that sense of laid back. He does it other places too, but that's just the most obvious example, I think. All right, so the second thing that I think creates that atmosphere of being laid back is he uses a lot of falling patterns, and he also uses a lot of major sevenths. And just maybe this is just me, but major sevenths to me have this beautiful, laid back, relaxed kind of feeling. Like remind me of like a really nice day when it's not too hot and the sun's shining and you could take a nap outside kind of feeling. That's how major sevenths feel to me. And so, but I don't think it's just me. But anyway, he uses falling patterns and major sevenths a lot. So here's one example, 216. He does it. Let me find it for you. Here we go. All right, you hear that? Da-dum-ba-dum. So, I'm sure you hear that. There's the major seven. So, 7, 5, 3, 1. Okay. So those are two big things to stand out. And there's some more I'll get to in a minute. But another thing I like about the solo, maybe a kind of separate from the laid back part, is just that he uses a lot of good patterns. Whether they're falling patterns or ascending patterns or dissonant matching dissonant or kind of playing inside the chord or the diatonic harmonies matching each other. So let me give some examples of what I think are really stand out to me is just helping to structure the solo and make it sound, I guess, cohesive instead of just like random notes. So 118 to 127 is one I really like a lot. Oh, sorry. Let me start a little before that. 115. So this is like just right at the very beginning of his solo. And along the lines of patterns, I noticed a lot of his patterns go in threes. Like for example, this one at the very beginning. So, sorry, right here. You hear that? And again, that's the major 7 stuff, but there's 3 little phrases that are all connected to the major 7, and they're all falling down. So that's the 9, 7, then the 5, the 3, and the 7 and the 6, and the lower octave. You can see it just has such a pretty laid back sound. Okay? But even through that whole section, there's more than just that. The patterns kind of repeat. Listen again. So there's a major 7 again. 7, 5, 3. So a lot of the same notes, just kind of developed that idea I started off with. Alright, so I just love that one. Another example of this at 137 to 141. There's another example of a pattern that goes in threes. Nope. So what I mean is the falling part is in threes, right here. There's the first one. Second one. They're not all identical, but they all have that, again, falling in threes. Okay, and then 154. Yes, this one's one of my favorites. It's really simple, but sometimes simple ideas maybe are the best. So he actually is just riffing off a D major, which by the way, he hits this F sharp like 2 or 3 times through every chorus. I think it's almost every opportunity that this D7 right before the G minor comes around. Almost every time he hits the F sharp in some form or fashion. But here you hear that same pattern, and it's oriented around the D major. Wait, how's it go? Let's see. So there you go. Da-da. So there it is. 1, 2, 3. Again, sounds great. Okay, another little observation on how he structures things, at least to my ear, is that he uses repetition sometimes to end phrases. Like, let's see, 142. Alright, so that's a super simple idea, right? He's at the end of that, I think he's on an F major there. Or maybe he's on C7. It's right at the end of some kind of section the chord changes. And he's going, it's just that bluesy note, the sharp 9 going into the 3rd. Super simple, but the repetition makes it stand out and ends the phrase nicely. Okay, and then one other just observation on how he structures things. He mixes, kind of alternates dissonant sounds with more or less dissonant, more consonant sounds. Like at 258, this is one of my favorite parts of the solo. It took me a long time to learn, but it was worth it. All right, here we go. Well, phone's going slow. Okay, well, my playback app's not working. Let me try it one more time. Oh. right here. There. Da-da. Alright, so again, that's coming off the D, but it's more of a altered sound. So he's playing E flat, so it's the flat 9, then the D, and the 7, flat and 7, C. And he plays it pretty quick, so it took a little while to learn, but it's a real spicy kind of sound. It's almost altered, but it has the A instead of the sharp 11 or the sharp 5. But other than that, it's got the, flat 9, sharp 9. So that's a real spicy sound, and he plays it pretty quickly. But then, after that, you get something real sweet and consonant, which I think maybe alludes back to the melody. But then here comes another real dissonant sound. Which, Brent, maybe you can help me out if you're watching this, the theory behind what's going on here harmonically. But it sounds to me like what he's playing is D minor and then C sharp major. So it goes, so that's pretty constant, right? D minor. And he hits this note right here, which is C sharp. Oh, sorry. He plays that real quick, but all those notes come out of a C sharp with a sharp 11, so I guess C sharp Lydian. So I think maybe that's the what do you call this? The deceptive cadence there. So I guess that's where that relates. Maybe it's over those chords. I don't really know how D minor relates to that though. But anyway, it sounds nice. And it's an example that kind of makes her sweet and spicy. All right, and then 2 more observations. Just one of my favorite licks in here is at 2:05.6 to 2:13-ish. Okay, so that's just coming out of F major. It's basically just outlining F major. 1 up to the 3. But then it does something kind of interesting. You've got the 4, B flat, and it's using barring from the whole tone. It's just going to major thirds. Back up to the 5, the C. And then it does, again, he plays the F sharp. G, F sharp. He does it almost every time, I'm telling you. Okay? And one other thing, one more example of that F sharp. That was just a great lick, and I think I botched it when I was trying to play it in the video. But here's 3:14 to 3:16. It's really simple, but it sounds really nice. Can't get my playback to work. Come on. Anyway, it's right there at the end. G, F sharp, D, E flat. Right there at the end. Right before he does all that at the very, very end of the solo. So I think that's again right before he's that altered D moving into the G minor. So he's in the F sharp, and then that's the flat 9 at the D, if that's the right chord underneath it, which I think it is. And something sweet, Just a G minor arpeggio. And then some F major. So anyway, this was a great solo to learn. I hope it sticks with me in some of the principles, especially I could maybe internalize. Hopefully this explanation was helpful to you. If not, that's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. You don't have to watch my ramblings. Anyway, thanks. Blessings.